Hello, greetings, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever your time zone may be within the world. You're on to Austin, and I'm reaching out to you live from the broadcasting department of the Kringle Private Society. And like I promised yesterday, I said that yesterday's broadcast was a prelude, and that today I'm going to give us the full content of what my broadcast is all about. And the title of my broadcast is Bitcoin Cash, Grains of Gold, and Kringles, how this will impact our private community or society now and even in our economy phase. Now, I wouldn't be able to give us every information because TBC is a whole new world system and you keep learning every day. So, I'm going to do the best I can to expatiate. And after I have finished, then maybe tomorrow I would continue from where I stopped. So if you're tuning into my broadcast for the very first time, I would appreciate if you give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, do well to subscribe to my channel. And let's see how it goes because at this point we are building into global adoption. And I can say that between now and the end of this year, we will definitely get there. So I'll share my screen now and then we'll go into the content of today. All right. I think my screen is now being shared. Okay, so do stay with me while I quickly move into the main topic for today. And now, before I would begin, I don't need to talk much about Bitcoin Cash because everybody already knows Bitcoin Cash. Everybody is familiar with Bitcoin Cash. And it's something that it's not out of place. But then so many people they are getting to terms with grains of gold. So many people want to have a very good understanding of why the administration moved our system from Bitcoin Cash into grains of gold and also reinvented the wheel of Bitcoin bounty. Now, in this particular presentation I'm giving, the title is The Effects of Grains of Gold and Kringle Coins, or the effects grains of gold and Kringle coins will have on our global sharing society. So, I'm going to take my time and I'll be as brief as possible to explain some things. It's called fundamental truths. After I've done that, I'll do the little I can, explain as much as I can. Then we will conclude by looking at our Kringle Cash back office. And then after that, I think that'll be all for today. Now, if you go into my YouTube videos, you are going to see some updates that I made, which are pertaining merchants. Now, I had some talks with merchants yesterday, and it's still an ongoing process. You make every effort, you come around to also make people understand your progress so far. So do well to watch those videos. It were divided into two. And if you watch the both of them, one is about 23 minutes, the other is about approximately 30 minutes or so, so that you will have an understanding of how our system is going. And then we have something to talk about, and that thing is not going to be today. So many people I've met and have discussed with, they have this concern that will I keep paying every month in anticipation of a food subsidy center without getting an immediate return from these merchants, even if it's a partial acceptance of Kringle coins. Now, I looked into it very well and I came up with a perfect recipe, a perfect plan to make sure that while members are waiting for the food subsidy centers to come in, they can patronize their merchants at a partial payment of Kringles and partial payments of cash, irrespective of the subscription they have gone for, whether it's a starter level, or a millionaire level, or a billionaire level. They should be able to enjoy an immediate returns pending when this food subsidy will start. And then if merchants has this understanding, then more merchants would adopt it and start getting residual returns while they are also giving some immediate returns to their customers. This will be discussed in details tomorrow. So let us officially now begin. Now, grains of gold, the effect grains of gold and kringles will have on our global sharing society. And now we begin with foundation of our lesson. Now, at the end of this lesson, we should have established some basic points. Now, what are the points that we're going to establish? One, the point is we want to establish equity across the world as we interact with each other within our private society. This our private society is actually going to grow, and then it's going to swallow up the entire world system because it's not built on ungodly actions or inequality. It's built on equity, justice, and truth. So as long as it is on that foundation, it's going to swallow the entire world system, though a private medium of exchange. The government at some point will become incapacitated and will submit to the principle of this Kringle private society. I may sound far-fetched. These ideas I'm giving may sound far-fetched, but as we continue to grow, humanity will have no choice than to embrace our Kringle society. Because this system is God's recipe, God's actual plan of how humanity should work. In our TBC community, we're going to create what we call balance as we build our system into 1 billion members and even more. So, our first principle is to establish equity across the world as we interact with each other within our private society. Now, I said within our private society, though our private society would continue to expand until everyone in the face of this earth are members of the Kringle Society, if not full members, but a kind of partial members. The 7.5 billion people across the world at some point will start holding a fraction of Kringle coins for day-to-day activities because our foundation is based on truth, not on a lie. Yeah, it doesn't look so as at this point, but watch how systems will unfold. Watch how we'll build into that level. Secondly, to return the entire financial system of the world to a gold measured standard through our private eleemosynary mediums of exchange, which are Kringle coins and grains of gold. Now, if you listen to the word I've said, the entire financial system of the world to a gold measured standard through our private eleemosynary mediums of exchange. Now, this is to be very clear. I didn't say we are returning it to a gold backed system. No, I didn't say we are returning it to a gold pegged system. You can measure, there are two mediums of measurement. You can measure the weight of someone in kilogram. You can measure the weight of someone in pounds. It is just a way of measuring someone. So we are also using gold as a measurement standard. But by default, when the world embraces our system, then that means we are returning the system to the original way created it. Now, at some point, the elites will also return back the system to a gold-backed system. And when they do that, it will also have a positive impact in our value because by default, those who are in TBC community will have a raise in the value of their currency, which they are using for purchasing of goods and services among themselves. And the other side of it is that they will need an extra more returns or extra money to pay the subscription fee. But if there is enough demand by the world, of course, it would be very easy because people will always ask you for grains of gold or Kringle coins. And when you exchange value, you have money to pay for your subscription fee, either on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. Now, thirdly, with the aid of the funding coming to the mass adoption team being 111,111 in numbers, we shall interact with the world using the 50-50 principle of exchange, which are respectively Kringle coins slash grains of gold, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum. So as we build into our economy phase, our constant is going to be what? Kringle coins. Now, our variants or variances are going to be grains of gold, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum. Now, it's actually a concept based on negotiation. If our customer who we are interacting with are not comfortable with going by grains of gold and Kringle coins. Then they are comfortable possibly going for Kringles and Bitcoin, or Kringles and Bitcoin Cash, or Kringles and Ethereum. This is our underlying or foundational principle that we want to achieve on a global scale. Now, we are going into details, and the details are this. First of all, I believe some of these things I'm saying, we are familiar with it, but I want to re-emphasize on some things so that we understand what are TBC Kringle coins. Now, these are mediums of exchange used exclusively among members of the Kringle Private Society in exchange for goods and or services. To be clear, it's not a legal tender. For more information, refer to the public notice in the KCBO. I was very brief about this because we've always been using our TBC Kringle coins, so it's not something to bother so much about. Now, let's keep moving forward. What are grains of gold? This can be seen as our own medium of cash. Now, cash has its own system. We are not a government-based system. We don't have a jurisdiction that is under the circumference of the government. We are separate. So being private, our own medium is what? Grains of gold, not cash. We can also intermingle with other cryptocurrencies. There are a few select cryptocurrencies that we are accepting. But the bottom line is, as we build, one thing that you are going to have an understanding on in the Kringle Society is that we have two systems we operate with: Kringle coins and grains of gold. They are more or less like two sides of the same coin. So do pay attention as I'm explaining. Now, being a private society, we are not under the government jurisdiction, and we are not authorized in any way to interact in a private society using a as a legal tender. So please put this at the back of your mind. We are private, and as long as we are private, our system should be private. It should be on a foundation which is Mother Nature. So moving forward, ways of obtaining grains of gold. The first one is we can obtain grains of gold from the administration of our Kringle Private Society simply by using Bitcoin. We use Bitcoin to buy grains of gold. Whichever amount of grains of gold you want, you can get it from the administration. You can also get grains of gold from members of our Kringle Private Society. You can get it also from a cash center or a merchant. They are basically the same thing. Now, if you're getting it from these two, it is actually fast. It is actually very, in fact, not just fast, it's instant, less than a second. But then getting it from the administration of the Kringle Society is just like you are subscription fee payment. You will use cryptocurrency to purchase it, so it could take some time. However, the bulk of all the coins, grains of gold, are domiciled in the hands of the administration. But then, as the system builds into an economy phase, it is slowly distributed into the members of the community. Kringle coins and grains of gold will be our standard of measurement. And as the world adopts it, we are returning the system to the original way that God created it. So let's continue because we have a few other things to address. Now, what is the total number of TBC coins in circulation or that will ever be in circulations? Now, the total number of TBC coins in circulations will only be 1 billion coins, and it will revolve among living men and women in our Kringle Society. Now, what is the total number of grains that would be in circulation? This one is a critical one. What will be the total number of grains that will be in circulation? Now, let's look at it. Now, the response to this question is a big one to answer. Looking at the whole idea of TBC community, we exist to stop a few things, some of which are: number one, monopoly. You understand what monopoly is. Number two, inequality. Number three, as we unite, we will end the concept of racism, thinking one race is superior to the other. We are one family created by God. So, as we unite in love and respect, racism will be a thing of the past. hoarding of valuable resources. We are also going to stop that. Now, going forward, we will also separate the church from the state. Now, this is when we have attained our global adoption. It will take some time, but we will do this. Now, I'm actually pointing out a few things that we are going to stop as we build this membership and recreate the face of this earth. We will stop wars. We will stop crimes against humanity and against every living creature that exists on the face of this earth. Now, what we're actually doing, when you look into this and you compound it into one, we're actually literally recreating the face of this earth for good. That's what we are doing. And it's actually a God-given agenda. Some of you may think it's just a man-made agenda. No, there is something that the Almighty God wants to achieve, and He is going to use us to get that thing actualized. So do pay attention to informations I'm giving. These informations are bettered from the depths of my heart, and everything I'm giving out are truths from the depths of my heart. And as you see us get to these numbers, we are going to achieve these goals. But it will not come on a platter of gold. It will come at a price. Now, based on the above facts, as we build our membership base into 1 billion, it will be prudent to say that the supply of grains of gold would be. Now, I want to give the answer to these grains of gold. So, grains of gold in supply will be equal to 1 billion members. Grains of gold in supply will be equal to 1 billion members within the Kringle Society. Listen attentively. 1 billion members within the Kringle Society multiplied by 1 billion TBC coins that would be in circulation among the members of the Kringle Society. So, grains of gold equals to 1 billion members within the Kringle Society. We are 1 billion. We are building into 1 billion, multiplied by 1 billion TBC coins. From inception, the administration says that we are going to have 1 billion TBC coins in circulation. So that would sound crazy, you know. That would sound really crazy. Mathematical expression, the grains of gold that will be in supply within this TBC community. Remember, we are abundant based. But then some of you will not get what we are saying now, but pay good attention. We are abundant based. Grains of gold equals to 1 billion multiplied by 1 billion, which is 1 times 10 raised to the power 18 zeros. That's really much. Now, a question: why those number of grains circulating in the system? Listen attentively. Like it was previously established in the above paragraph, this will enable at least one person to have 1 billion grains of gold if he or she can afford the finance to purchase it. In other words, 1 billion people can purchase 1 billion grains of gold if they have the finance to do so. So what this thing is actually trying to do is to make sure that no human being will wake up one morning, possibly because he has so much finance, and then buys all the grains of gold from the admin and then has monopoly over the system. The system is designed such that it will be impossible to exhaust the available number of grains by one single individual. So let's read. Now, this was automatically, this particular statement I just made. Now, this will automatically destroy any form of monopoly or hoarding of any kind in the system, and hence will allow every member in the TBC community to find full expression within themselves. So, remember I said that there will be no form of hoarding. There will be no form of what? Hoarding of valuable resources. There will be no form of inequality. It will be more than enough for everybody to have, and it will still remain for other people to have. Now, let's keep moving forward. Similarities between Kringle coins and grains of gold. Let's pay attention. These are Kringle coins, okay? And now these are grains of gold. Now, both are finite in numbers. That's one thing you should bear in mind. Now, at this point, at this particular point, one TBC is equals to 100 million Kringle coins. Now we are still 4 million, okay? Now we are still going to undergo what you call migrations. And when we have migrated to a reasonable point and we have reached a good number, when we are heading towards 1 billion, because we have the interest of mankind, humanity at heart, this 100 million will not suffice. Now, I dare to say that there will be another upgrade. Now, that upgrade will be such that one TBC coin will be equals to 1 billion Kringle coins. At this point, it is 100 million Kringle coins because we have possibly not built the technology strong enough to be able to do 1 billion transactions per second, because this is the ultimate goal of the administration, such that 1 billion people can engage in transactions per second without it overburdening the system. And we have looked into the technology that we're going to use to achieve this. But then it's in perspective. As we build, these things will be actualized. So in conclusion, concerning the finite nature of Kringle coins, we are finite, but we are abundant to the such that humanity can comfortably interact with us without having any issues. So the number of Kringle coins that are in circulations are going to be, or at this moment, 100 million times 1 billion TBC coins. Those are the number of Kringle coins. Of course, you already know that the number of members in the community will be 1 billion members. So one Kringle coin is actually, one TBC coin is actually 100 million Kringle coins. So finite in numbers, the total number of Kringle coins that will be in circulation are going to be 100 million times 1 billion, which is equals to 1 times 10 raised to the power 17, if you do your calculation. Now, in our grains of gold, it is 1 times 10 raised to the power 18. But then when we get to our economy phase and we are 1 billion, both of them will be equal to the same value. This will be 18 and this one will also be 18. So it's actually a system that is much more abundant, but there will be a small difference. Now, Kringle coins are going to be domiciled in the hands of the core team and the billionaires in the TBC community. So there's going to be what you call a kind of friction among the billionaires and the millionaires in our TBC community, so that we can have a sustainable economy long term. But grains of gold will be open to everybody. There is no level of distribution among millionaire. It will be open for all. But something will be very clear. As long as you remember in the TBC community, you must have some Kringle coins and you must have some grains of gold so that you can take part in interacting with merchants. We are not going to be the only currency of the world, but we are going to, because we are built on a foundation of truth, humanity will embrace us more than the currencies that you see in the coin market cap. So I've established point number 1. We are finite, though we are abundant. Now, point number 2, we are measured, Kringle coins are measured in what? Grains of gold. We have already said it. We are backed up by human beings, but what? Measured in grains of gold. Now, grains of gold is a unit of measurement used by members of the Kringle Society. So they are actually two sides. They are actually the same sides, but different sides of the same coin. Sorry. So going forward, they are both intangible. So it can't be held. It is a faith and technology thing merged together. It can't be held. Now, in Kringle coins, you can exchange for other currencies, or when you go into your wallet and you check, there are all currencies in the world. You just switch it to the currency of your own choice, and you see the equivalent in the other system, which is the public system number. Not that it's actually a way of comparing. I would say it's a way of comparing, but we have, well, I don't know how to put it, but the point is that for every country in the world, there is your own currency value in Kringles. You will just check it in your wallet, you'll see it. Now, you can't check it all in our Kringle Cash back office because all the countries in the world are not there. It's just a few countries that you will see there. Because if we were to put in some third world countries, the numbers will be running into several zeros and it wouldn't make sense. So the major countries that are okay are the ones that are in the Kringle Cash back office. So can be exchanged for other currencies. Same thing applies. It can be exchanged for other currencies. That means having grains of gold You can actually, if you're from Nigeria, someone needs it, you give him grains, you collect naira. You're from Philippine, someone needs it, you give him grains, you collect pesos. You're from United States, someone needs it, you give him grains, you collect USD. So it can be exchanged to any currency. Exists in other currencies. Exists in other currencies. Now will exist in other currencies. Okay, I've actually talked about, now there is a slight difference between this one and this one. Now this one means you can exchange it. You give someone, you collect. So gringos, someone may want to purchase a certain amount of gringo coins from you. So he gives you cash and you give it to him. Now in this one, same thing applies. Now in this one, it means in your wallets, it exists in your wallets. Now in this one, it will exist in other currencies because at this point, the food subsidy centers has not started. I've said already that our system is going to be cash and kringles. Now, sorry, grains of gold and kringles. Now, no one here has witnessed the wrath of the elites or the wrath of the government. When the government wants to clamp down on something, they would frustrate it to the point where you will wish it never existed. So we are going to be very careful to work on our terms, to be careful not to infringe on the system of the government. That's why it's hypercritical that we work with grains of gold and we work with what? Kringle coins. Now, as a member who is an active billionaire in the TBC community, who wants to patronize your Food First Subsidy Center, you go there with your 50% cash and 50% Kringles, and then when you are there, you will see a cash center. Now, it's in that cash center that you would give that cash and collect grains of gold so that you can move into that shopping mall and purchase items. You will drop your cash by the cash center and then collect grains of gold and enter. Now, the reason is because when the system sees that we are making progress and they want to frustrate it and then bring everything, what the system wants to do is they have a plan of crashing the coin market cap, crashing everything that is existing on earth, and then involving their new world order. This is what their goal is. So anything that stands on their way, they will bring it down with them so that they can bring up their own system and bring up that concept of you will own nothing and be happy. That's what they want to do. But we are intelligent and we are what we call the brilliant society or the brilliant community. We wouldn't be so foolish to fall for that. So the system is going to upgrade that grains of gold section so that whichever currency, whichever country you are, you will be able to get maybe 0.5 grains of gold, maybe 0.2 grains of gold in exchange for whatever you want. However they are going to do it, but they will build a system where people will easily have grains of gold to interact with these food subsidy centers. Now, going forward, very stable long term for your Kringle coins, very stable long term. Same thing applies to both of them are actually measured in grains of gold, meaning actually measured in gold. So gold is a stable concept. So these are some of the similarities. Now, what are the differences between Kringle coins and grains of gold? Now, first one, this one is stored up in a wallet. Second one, this one is stored up in a KCBO. So you would always need both of them if you are going to have interactions with food subsidy centers. You would always need your Kringle coins in your wallet. You would always need your grains of gold in your KCBO to be able to interact easily. Basically, they are two sides of the same coin. So the TBC community is going forward to achieve this. Now, before we go into atomic swap, the rotator that we are already building. Now, by the time the treasury will be handed down, even to members that will succeed in the mass adoption team, something would have been clear. One, grains of gold would have become reasonably accepted by humanity. That's one thing that we'll bear in mind. Now, when it is handed down to them, there will be two options to interact. There will be grains of gold to interact. There will also be Bitcoin Cash to interact. Bitcoin Cash can be converted into money. Grains of gold can also be converted into money. But this will be two options based on the setting that will be put up there. You can switch between this and this. You would negotiate with whoever you want to do business with, asking the person if you can go into 50% Kringles, 50% grains of gold. If he says no, then you can say, okay, 50% Kringles, 50% Bitcoin Cash. Now, that may seem reasonable to him, but there are some disadvantages that you should also let him know. One of those disadvantages is that Kringle coins, cryptocurrencies are volatile. They could go up, they could go down. But holding grains of gold and Kringles will stand the value long term. Let them understand that before they engage. Now, people always want to have something that will stand value long term. So I think they would go for grains of gold. So these will be options which the mass adoption team members will be properly educated about by the administration of the Kringle Society. So that's okay. Now, the last one we're going to talk about, briefings on atomic swap. Now, you can do your homework. Everyone can do their own homework. Now, this is the little homework I've done, and I'm still making my research. So do well to pay attention. Now, this will be the exchange that the Kringle community will use to give value to individuals who are not members within the Kringle Private Society. Remember that by then, the food subsidy centers are already open and are running. Several of them would have been existing across the world. Now, to take part in this exchange, you should be a registered and active member holding the title of either a billionaire or a millionaire within the Kringle Private Society. Starters will not be eligible to engage in the exchange. We shall begin the atomic swap when we have completed the billionaire level and we are between 5 million to 10 million active members in our TBC community. Now, this will be very possible the moment we have enough food subsidy centers spread across the globe. Now, that's a quick preamble. So, what kind of coins will be accepted in the exchange? Well, there will be a few coins that will be allowed in the exchange coming soon. Some of them are the basic coins we accept in our Kringle Private Society for monthly and yearly payments. Some other coins that are likely to feature in the exchange will be other private coins that hold a reasonable level of integrity. Well, this is subject to the admin's approval. It is the administration that will decide how that will be, because it's actually a new concept that is the admin is still musing upon. He has not finally concluded. What are the rules of engagement in this exchange? I think this should go down. Now, I'm almost through with this. Now, you must be a member in the Kringle Private Society. It's as simple as that. Now, there may be other rules of engagement, but I'm not in a position to give that. The administration should be in a better position to do that. Will there be limits of transactions? Yes, there will be transaction limits based on what category you belong to in the community. That is, if you are a billionaire or a millionaire in the TBC community. For billionaires, as at the time the exchange will be launched, the maximum amount that can be exchanged in a day will be around 5,000 to 10,000. Remember that would have grown in number, and it won't be reasonable to just do a transaction limit of 1,000. As at now, it is 1,000 for billionaires, but then it will be expanded to about between 5 and 10,000. It's the administration that will determine that. However, proper documentation of the parties involved in such large transactions will be required. This will be under the jurisdiction of the Commissioner of the Kringle Private Society. So it's the commissioner that would do the overseeing of such kind of transactions. Now, for millionaires that will take part in the exchange, the maximum amount that will be exchanged in a day will be around 500 to 1,000. By then, they would have expanded the ability for millionaires to interact. So it will be around that amount. So there will be no room for starters in the exchange. Reason for the atomic swap, simple, to build up the numbers in our community into 1 billion members within the shortest possible time. Now, I see this particular atomic swap coming in sometime next year, not this year. I don't think it will happen this year. Well, I don't know. It's a factor of how well we do in our TBC community. This year, our goal is to get our core team filled out and then fill out our billionaire positions, and then we move over to the next thing, the food subsidy centers. These things are things we are working to achieve. We are not rushing to achieve it. We are working within the pace we can, but trust me, we are going to achieve it nonetheless. All right, now let's go into our Kringle Cash back office and then find out if our numbers, well, our time has gone. Find out if our numbers has really grown. That's the what do you call it? The promo. Let's see what our numbers are. Okay, it's still 700 and 373. I don't think it was updated. Well, that's fine, no problem. So I'll stop at this point. I believe the informations are clear, and I hope we do the necessary so that we can get to these our numbers. Do well to bring in as many merchants as possible. What matters most is the merchants you bring in. When those merchants are properly educated, then they can start working with TBC. And then with that, we can build our numbers into those numbers that we are anticipating. All right, that said, I'll stop here. And Rodel Kataji, you came in and you disappeared. Well, I think I have been able to pass on the message. So till I come your way again tomorrow, do have a wonderful day. Cheers and God bless you.